What is going on, guys? Saad, Psycho, whatever you would like to call. Uh, we are back in Forza Horizon 5. A lot of people have been asking uh, how to set up a good drift build. Now, there are plenty of ways to do this, and there are plenty of options you could actually go for. Now, what I'd like to run in my drift builds and setups uh, are good handling builds. Now, you can definitely uh, up the power of your cars depending on uh, if you want more speed and drift. You can also do that. But since I usually drift on courses where there are tight turns and I want my car to you know handle perfectly in those situations where there are turns after each minutes or each there are turns like after every minute or a few seconds or whatever. So basically, long story short, I make perfect handling drift builds usually, but you can definitely play around with yourself and suit yourself for whatever build you want to go for. But this is my MK4 Supra. It's a rear-wheel drive setup, completely. It has 1100 horsepower with 1300 torque. That's the engine. And right here, as you guys can see, this car it has a lot of power in terms of speed. It just draws a lot of power. Now, usually this video is gonna be about for mostly for average players and beginners. And what the first thing what you should do is, of course, go to settings, difficulty, um, put your traction and stability control off completely. And I would say if you want to drift or if you're just in free roam, just enjoying your car, enjoying like your driving and all that kind of stuff, enjoying your drifts and whatnot, put your car on manual transmission. But if you're completely new, uh, just go with automatic. It doesn't matter. There is an option for a manual with clutch. I haven't tried out that myself since I recently just switched to manual. And manual, when it comes to drifting, it's perfect because what happens is that you when you're driving and you can shift gears whenever you want so that your car doesn't you know draws more power in acceleration and goes like oversteer, and it will just like spin out. So manual is really good because your car will just like stay in stay in that exact gear you want it to have. Now automatic is fine too, but you just got to be careful with your acceleration since the transmission is going to be automatic. So you're gonna, if you press the accelerator too hard, of course it will change the gear and it will cause your wheels to spin faster, and that will it will have a chance to like mess up your slide or drift while you're maintaining your drift. So your car might oversteer, and it will, if you can't if you are not able to control it, it will spin out. You gotta have to install those parts in order to unlock all these tuning stuff. So this is my car. I'm gonna go to upgrade and tuning. Now you can definitely download. As you can see, this is my this is my drift build. Like it's completely by me. Uh, you can also find new tune setups from other people if you have, if you own a Forza Horizon. If you own Forza Horizon 5. Now let's get into the the main thing over here. Engine, you can throw in whatever you want. I would personally say race because of that sheer raw power your engine is gonna get and more speed. uh, when it comes to platform and handling, you're gonna have to go with race brakes. This is important. Springs and dampers. This is gonna be your key. Now, of course, you're gonna go with drift springs, so the car will automatically it will adjust half of it by itself. So later on, you can tune this to like further on, to your liking, whatever you want. Same with anti-roll bars, race, chassis. I would say do do have a low weight on your car, because the reason why is that I'll explain in this video later. When I'm actually gonna drive. And the other setup is just clutch, completely up to you. Transmission, whatever speed you want to go for. So it's completely up to you. Now let's jump into tuning. So I was talking about tire pressure. Let's talk about tire pressure. What is tire pressure? So when you accelerate your car, it's gonna have pressure on all four wheels. And since when you're driving a rear wheel drive car, your car will spin the wheels, the rear wheels first, and later on your pressure is eventually going to come on the front wheels. So what I'd like to do is setup I have is mostly on my other cars as well, so you can like you know tune it to your liking. Now what I have going on over here is I have 1.8. By the way, this is in metric. This is not in English units. So if you if you're having trouble with units, just go to settings and change it to uh, metric, and then if you want to keep it English, you can just switch it back. But I would say just switch your units for this video, and then tune your car, and then switch it back to English units if you want. So 1.8 is my front tire pressures, and I usually like to keep it higher, a little bit higher than my rear tires, because obviously when when you're driving, when you start driving, so you'll notice that the rear wheels will already be slipping and they'll be spinning, and that means that the car will do a burnout, or it will do some sort of crazy stuff. So whenever you do that, whenever you accelerate, you're going to have low pressure on your rear tires, higher pressure on your front tires, because the more pressure you have on your front tires, the better grip your car is gonna get on your front tires. Keep that in mind. So you want higher pressure on your front tires. It doesn't matter. Default is, I think, 2.0, or a little bit 2.0, so a little bit higher than 2. I think it's 2.5. But yeah, keep that in mind. Do copy this if you want to. As for gearing, now this is also important. Uh, Forward gear, speed, and acceleration. Now, what happens over here? Final drive should always be negative, or completely like zero. It says 2.0 over here, but the bar shows it's like completely, like on the left side. Now, if you see, if I tweak this, what's gonna happen over here in the graph is that my speed is gonna reduce, my overall speed, as you can see. So to max out that power, you need to have uh, final drive to like completely uh, lowest. Leave the rest of the gearing as it is. Don't touch it. As for alignment, now this is also important. This is the part where your alignment and a little bit of weight reduction goes on, and it involves your cambers as well. Where when you're going to turn your car, and when you're going to adjust that drift angle. So these are your cambers, which they're a part of your springs. Take it as a suspension of your car, and this front camber is going to be negative, because the lowest you have, the more control you're gonna get when you're initiating that slide from front. Because obviously, when you turn your car, you want more control from the front, because your rear end is gonna go sideways. So That's the thing with this. And keep your rear at 2.0, or maybe go lower if you want to experiment with it. Uh, Toe is its angle of the wheels, and it's it's basically uh, when you're driving and when you exit out your drift and you go go back into a straight, straight path. So just keep it at one. You can go higher, and uh, since you're drifting, if you go higher, it will actually. Um, I would say for beginners, try higher. Maybe it will help you, gain that stability when you exit the corner. Okay. Leave the front caster angle at whatever it is. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Anti-roll bars. Now this is also very important, and this provides extra stability when you are, like when you're cornering. Now, the more stiff it's gonna be, the more stable it's gonna go. And what happens is that when you decrease the front, decrease front to like maybe a little bit like lower than 40 or 30s, your car is gonna be more stable. And the reason why is that um, when you're drifting, decreasing rear anti-roll stiffness reduces oversteer. So it's gonna, like, you can lower this. Usually it's higher in every drift car, so you can tweak with this. You can actually go lower if you want. It will help you not the car will not oversteer. And keep the rear one like they're part of your tires. So on the front one, we have, like, when you decrease it, you will have your car will less likely oversteer. And the reason why, because you want you want soft anti-roll bars, is that when you're drifting, you want that grip, you want that stability. As for rear, uh, you can uh, you can also lower this, because you're gonna have to lower this, because your car will already be spinning the rear wheels. And if you max this out, or if you take it higher than 50, then trust me, you won't be able to control that car when when you use an e-brake or just a regular brake. Coming to springs, springs is also very important. It involves with anti-roll bars. Take it just like as a suspension, and it's also dependent on your weight transfer of your car. So whenever your car slides and get into that momentum of that drift, uh, it's gonna uh, it also involves traction control here. These things, springs are completely related to your tires. They're attached to your tires. As for just go with 122.4 and 125.3, and this is like your complete base of the car, you can say. The part where your engine is involved, your tires are doing your work, and your suspension and your weight. Everything is involved in springs. Okay, it's literally the base of your car. On top of that, your car is going to be performing on this. And as for ride height, just the lower the car, the better stability you're gonna get. That's the general rule of drift cars. Because I can also confirm that when you go to upgrades and when you apply springs and dampers, you will notice that drift springs will already put your car to like the lowest ride height. So just keep it at that. Damping, it tuning your car's damping improves handling by increasing grip. And trust me, you need to stabilize this, because this is very important. I'd like to run 11.7 9.2. You can lower this if you want. Um, decreasing front bump damping stiffness, increase transitional understeer. So it kind of like there's an oversteer and there's an understeer. Understeer is basically when your car is gonna not it's not gonna turn, even you're like pushing your wheel or analog stick on a controller, it's not gonna turn. And oversteer is obviously the complete opposite, where you do a slight turn, you push an accelerator, and your car is just like, it spins out. So just keep it at that. Just copy these numbers. Stiffness, run default if you'd like. I would recommend default for beginners, uh, because again, it does the same thing. It's like rebound stiffness and bump stiffness, pretty much the same thing. They don't have, like, as you can see, they're almost pretty much the same, except for the on the rear tires or the rear bump stiffness. Arrow, this is default. Braking, default. As for the last part, make sure you have that drift differential on your car, like installed on your car. Otherwise, you won't have this option unlocked. Acceleration, deceleration should always be high, no matter what, on your drift car, because um, what's gonna happen? I'll actually demonstrate you the differential right here. Let me just take this car on the road. Mainly tuning is done, it involves everything around your car, like your weight of the car. And also, one quick note I'll give after this. Okay, so the differential, basically what it does is, you're gonna see, I'm gonna accelerate this and look at the acceleration of my car. Like, it's very quick. You need that when you need that acceleration when you end your drift, because you're gonna have to get ready for the next corner. So you need that a bump of speed. As for deceleration, brakes. Now watch this. The reason why I had deceleration maxed out as well is because of this. Now trust me, either if you're using an e-brake or you're using a normal brake, you are gonna use brakes. So your deceleration should be maxed out. One quick tip I'm gonna give for the weight transfer thing, because as we read and as I said, that your car is gonna be literally doing multiple things, So it involves everything inside of how much weight your car has, and regarding that, the more weight if your car has, the more chunky it's gonna be, and which means that it's gonna be harder to control once you enter that drift. Like, for example, my car has a decent amount of weight over here, so I can control this car. Now, lightweight cars generally perform better because you can, like, let's say if my car is about to understeer right here, right? I can turn this car like this with a handbrake or with a regular brake, and stay in the rhythm of my drifting. But with heavyweight cars, what happens? I would love to demonstrate you in my Dodge Challenger, since Dodge Challenger is a muscle car and it's a heavier car. It has a heavier engine for sure than my Supra or any other Nissan or Mitsubishi or any other car. So what happens in Dodge Challenger is, since it's a heavier car, once it once it reaches that oversteer threshold, and trust me, you can't control that car no matter what. So you need to be very careful on maintaining your rhythm, maintaining your turns, and nail that corner. And that's pretty much it for how tuning works. Uh, and I hope this guide actually helps you out. There are like a lot of numbers. You can also read the description out yourself as well, and later on, tweak it to tweak it to your liking, and play around with it. And after that, play around with engine and stuff. But yeah, I do hope that this video helped you out, and do leave a like and comment down below if it helps you out, and let me know what other stuff and what other info guides I can make to help you guys out. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.